Welcome back to the Speaking and Communicating podcast. If you are interested in leadership development, improving your workplace communication skills, and overall self improvement, this is the podcast for you. Today, I am joined by Zmia Bertaud, who is in Las Vegas and will share with us what it takes to network and the power that comes from networking. And before I go any further, please help me welcome this entrepreneur, real estate investor, volunteer at a Hope for Prisoners facility, and also a consultant. Hi, Zmia.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is in your part of the world. I'm Zmia Bertaud, and I'm here to share about the power of networking. First, I'll start off by giving a little Thank you, Roberta. You gave a great introduction. Not many things I can really fit into that. I'm from Southeast Georgia, retired military. I have a background in organizational health and culture because I was EO, equal opportunity specialist. Majority of the time I was in the military. And of course, I've served in and been in over 26 different countries. So I've had an opportunity to work with a very, very diverse group of people. Also a doctorate student trying to get through at Touro University worldwide online. And I ended up in the organizational and behavioral programs based on that experience I got from the military because I needed something that could parallel with what I absolutely loved. And that was like helping organizations heal, helping organizations grow. But let's get off of me and let's get to the business side of it. Are you ready?
Okay, we are ready.
My aunt loves me so much. I'm sorry. Let me turn my phone off. I'm so sorry.
No problem at all. Before we go any further, how long were you serving in the military?
I did over 20 years and retired.
Yes. Okay. Right. And I have heard that some veterans struggle to transition from military life to corporate life, so to speak, to have regular jobs. Was that challenging for you?
I didn't transition over to the actual corporate side of it. I went to the educational side, like, I'm a substitute teacher. I wanted something that wasn't going to take up a lot of my time. However, did I feel like the oddity, the pressure? Yes, I did. When I came out and I put together my resume and just understanding the different, lingo, just communicating was just so different than what it was in the military. So that can be very intimidating. And I did not have like the desire to be locked into a corporate job because I just came out of the military. I was in there under contract for more than 20 years. So I wasn't looking for that. Looking for something that, gave me a little more leisure time on my own that, so I could really concentrate on, work-life balance.
Right. And therefore you started after the military, your military experience and retired. What was the first thing that you did?
If I back it up a little bit, right before, maybe like a year before I retired, I told myself, let me step into real estate. So I start real estate investing at that point and kind of just continued on. I developed my own strategy from just, self-teaching. And I think I have a good strategy in place. But after that, I retired, got settled here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I start thinking about what I absolutely wanted to do as far as business. I wanted to start a business, but I wasn't exactly sure what I was actually going to do. I won't say I didn't know what I was going to do because maybe about maybe 6 months out, I knew that I wanted a logistics company. That was the first one. It was tied into, and I know some people would not even believe, but I knew that I was going to be a doctorate student one day. I just knew it, I manifested and I knew it was going to happen because I look at I'm a part of the bigger picture. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not just a wallflower. I'm the actual wallpaper.
Right.
So I look at myself in that way, and I knew. So I chose my dissertation when I was in my bachelor's program. I chose it, and I knew that I was going to want to do something for that demographic of people that are coming out of prison, and they're unable to find those great corporate jobs that are paying good and offering medical, benefits and things that they always get like the bottom of the barrel.
Is it
So
based
I
on
wanted,
history? So corporates feel like they can top change them?
it's the stereotype. It's the stereotype. It's the stereotype. But a lot of these corporate and industry businesses, they hire them because we have that work opportunity tax credit in place through the federal government that pays them or gives them a tax break for hiring that
Mm.
different demographic of people. Um,
And yet those
so
benefits don't transfer to how much they pay them just
of course
because of being excellence.
yeah, it does not. But they also do not give them the opportunity to be onboarded. Do you really think they get that beautiful, professional, concrete, organizational onboarding that someone comes
Induction.
in,
Mm.
yes, that has like a degree and they're like, they don't have a scratch on their record, they have like all this background and things, they're probably going to get the cream of the crop, but they won't get that, and they don't have mentorship programs, nor is it mandated for them to have a mentor for at least 60 to 90 days when they get on the job. That's a concern of mine, because in order to help with recidivism, you have to approach it at all angles.
Right.
And one of the first is that they're thinking, where am I going to work and how am I going to make enough money to provide for myself? Some of them have families when they come back. So that's one of the first things, how can you tell me what to eat if I have nothing to eat? So I said to myself, I said, I'm going to blow this out of the water. But first, let me get through this bachelor's degree.
Hmm.
And I knew right then, I said, my dissertation is going to be around trying to affect that work opportunity tax credit and see whether or not I can nudge the government to mandate that mentorship program for the ex-convicted, prisoners, that that are coming out of prison, that they can have that opportunity, because they'll feel better when you get onboarded properly. You feel like you're one of the team.
And aren't you going to be more productive if they speed
Yes.
up your onboarding and induction just like everybody else?
Job satisfaction. You get like upfront understanding and training about what it is that you're responsible for. I mean, there are a lot of things that you get out of that onboarding, so
Right.
much more. And you also get the networking piece. Okay, you got to have that, because you got to get to know all the people that you're working with, and not sitting off in a corner because they kind of know who you are and where you came from, and now you kind of alienated from the group because of
Wow.
stereotypes. So that was my focus. So the trucking company, I knew absolutely, and I still today don't know much about a trucking company. I
But you
really
had
don't.
to start somewhere, like we say, fail forward, get started, and figure it out
But
along the way. Mm.
are you ready to go? I'm about to walk you right into the networking piece of it.
Go
Not
ahead with
knowing,
the trucking company. We have the time, all the time in the world. So go ahead.
not knowing, not
Mm.
knowing. I prayed about it. I'm sorry, guys. I prayed about it,
No, please.
and the Lord told me exactly what job to do in order to help, to really be effective. And when he spoke into my spirit that it was going to be trucking, I was like, I'm afraid of those big old trucks. How would I even have a business that have anything to do with a truck, a big semi truck? And one thing that I will tell you is, whenever you obey that feeling or that calling within inside of you, and you don't change it because there is fear, you don't change it, you stick with it, all things will begin to fall in place. And they I think, I hear people say all the time that your net worth
Is
is
your
as,
net worth.
okay, your
Mm.
net worth is as large as your network.
Yes, that's right. Your network is your net worth. Oh, your net worth is your net worth. That's right. Yes.
So I I I think it sounds like really good, especially if I said it in front of my third grade class, they probably really fall right into that one. But what I feel like it lacks is it lacks that genuine personality, because people know when you're fake, even when you're out there networking, they know.
Of
They
course.
know. They absolutely know. So there's more that goes with that than just I'm at every event, because sometimes people are not always apt to share. They're not always open to really share a lot sometimes. I like to mentally record what's going on in the room before I get up. I like to sit in the back. I sit in the back and I go to the event and I sit in the back.
Read the
And
room.
yes, so that I can kind of in my mind and within myself kind of seek out the people that I might need to talk to. And it works every single time.
Please
Every
take us
single time.
through it step by step. This is intriguing.
Okay. The last networking event I went to, I was on at a country club, a golf club. I wasn't even supposed to be there. Okay. I wasn't supposed to be there. However, when I put in my information, they asked you your business. It was actually for real estate. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not a realtor. One day we'll talk about my journey into real estate investing, but I'm not a realtor. I have no license
Right.
at all. But I put down the trucking company and they told me I could come. So of course I'm going to show up. And I made sure I was nice and fancy and everything. And I got in there. And I began to, really kind of connect with people as I walk in. I'm a smiler anyway. So that's extremely welcoming to anyone, because sometimes you don't get to see those that often and they be real. So and once I got in, I didn't want to sit up front. 2 reasons. One, I got to scan the room. Two, I feel like I wasn't supposed to be there, so I don't need to sit up front so they can call my name. I didn't want to be up front. So I found me a little nook in the back and I had a seat back there. And they put us to a round table of about 8 people so that you could, talk. And of course, I do things sometimes a little bit different than some. If this is the type of setting they put us in, they know that you want the networking. They weren't really talking. So I was just like, okay, I think what we're supposed to do is give each other's card. Let's share cards. So I took out my card and I began to give everybody a card, and I began to take their cards, and that kind of like broke the ice at the table.
Yes.
Because that's what we're there for. It said networking. So we must practice the skill, right? So
Exactly.
I sat there. I ended up sitting by a very, very nice individual that was giving me all types of little nuggets. He had me writing stuff down on a pad, and he was just telling me all types of stuff and acronyms. And I was like, yes, but it had absolutely nothing to do with real estate. It had more to do with networking and, those little nuggets that you get about your personality, who you are, how you treat people. I'm just like, I sat by a encyclopedia of networking or something. And after he filled up so good, I told him, I said, you know what? I'm about to get up and I'm about to start networking. I'm gonna go talk to someone. And he says, okay, go out, have yourself a ball. I've done this so many times, I'm not gonna get up. I was like, okay. So I look around, everybody's chitty chatting, yes. And I see an individual standing off away from everybody at the front. And I say, that's who I'm going to talk to. I'm going to talk to that person. He's not talking to anyone. He's not even fancying anyone. I'm going to go talk to him. So I go over, he's extremely tall guy. So, at that point I must speak tall, So I went up to him, and of course, I have the event going on, the conference going on. So I'm in pitch mode. So I give him my elevator pitch for my conference. And he didn't smile. He didn't do anything. So I didn't know if it was effective at all. So I finished, and then he asked me, he says, well, what do you do? Are you a realtor? Oh, junk. I was like, well, no, but I do real estate investing. And he was like, So what are you doing here? I said, I'm networking. And he said, oh, okay. But he was very cold. And I say, well, it was a pleasure meeting you. Do you have a business card? No, I'm already out. I said, that's okay. I have plenty. You can have mine. And I gave him mine and I kept going.
So that didn't freak you out. You were not discouraged just because of his response.
No. Mission, wow. Absolutely. Mission was not accomplished at that point, but we are headed towards it. So I'm going because because I got to sell the conference. You know, I got to sell this conference and get people involved, got to get some community people involved so we can make this thing go. So I ended up going back, and it was like this little table, and it was a bunch of males at the table. It wasn't any females at the table. And it was so inviting because I was like, yes, I'm going to disrupt all of them. So I went over and I told some jokes and talked to them and everything. And we all exchanged cards. And I told them about the conference, the teachers conference. And I told them, but you guys can't come. So I can only just give you information that's going to, you know, tantalize your thoughts because you can't come. But it was, you know, I talked with them for a while, but I felt like I talked to the right individual, even though it didn't feel right. I thought I talked to the right individual. So, later, after we finished eating, they did a whole little open up. The young lady that was co-partnering, that put it together, the networking event together, she said, we don't have a very large crowd, so I should be able to meet and greet with everyone. So if you see me, pull me to the side. I got my opportunity. I give her that elevator pitch, because you have to always stay in character, you know, you can't leave it. Character. So I gave it, and you know what? She blew me off.
She did.
I'm not doing good. So you know what? I went ahead and I ate my little lasagna and gave myself a break from the chitty chatty. All right. So then this one speaker comes up, and this man is amazing. You'll see him, Roberta. He's actually speaking with us. And he is like,
I look forward to hearing him.
He's a poet that will blow your mind. And he knows all his poetry by memory. Okay, beautiful poetry. So I am just intrigued, and in my heart, I'm like, I need to get him to speak at this conference. I need to, how am I gonna get this man to speak? So I'm sitting way in the back of the room. So when he's done doing his spiel, he goes way over on the other side in the corner. So if I get up, this non-real estate license holding person that don't supposed to be there, everybody's gonna see me move from one side of the room to the other. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I can pretend I'm going to the bathroom and I'm going over there and get to him. So I got over there and I get to him and I give him my elevator pitch. And he says, I would be delighted. I would be absolutely delighted.
There you go.
For those teachers. I would love to. Great. We had a little bit of an intermission. All things beautiful. The other speaker comes in. I see him. That's the UFC Hall of Fame guy.
Yes, I saw it on your page.
Yes. So I saw him and loved it. I was able to connect with him. It is so important that when you're networking, that you find something that you can connect with the person. And feel very comfortable about doing so, no matter how the other end of the communication works. You have to understand that you have to get your information to whomever. You got to, even if it ends up on the table, someone else might pick it up.
Just like that other guy earlier who wasn't very responsive, but you still wanted to complete your mission anyway.
And the one that actually worked with him, teamed with him to put it together, she kind of blew me off too. So I'm just like, I'm hitting zero right now. I'm getting no baskets, but I did get one with the speaker, the poet. And so after the UFC fighter retired, stops in his speaking, of course, military. How about I used to sing the national anthem for the UFC groups that would be in Atlanta, Georgia, because I was connected with the combative center down in Fort Benning, Georgia, helping them stand up their UFC gym. And this was back in, this was back in 2003, 2004. Wow. And so when I approached him, I said, I have something I want to sell you. And he says, okay. And I say, so I know everybody want to take a picture with you. I'm going to sit here in the corner and I'm going to wait until you get done. He says, okay, no problem. His wife is standing there. So after everything's calmed down, he calls me over. I go over and I give him my pitch. And he loves it. The wife loves it. And then I say, can you go all the way back to 2003, 2004 and go to Fort Benning, Georgia at the Combative Center that was just about to turn into the UFC? He says, oh my God, yes, I was there. I went down there. I used to go down there and help out with training and do a little training myself. But we couldn't remember the name of the guy that's actually over it. And I'm still trying to get his name today so that I can share it with him. But we connected on that, luckily. But see, that's a part of it. That's a part of that thing in the inside of you that attracts you to the people that you need. You have to know that that person that you need is out there, and there is something between the two of you that is going to just connect.
Right.
It did. And he was like, by all means. Now I'm going to tell you this. He's someone that you just can't get in touch with because he's a celebrity in a sense, so you can't get him. So I didn't get back in touch with him until like this past week because there's no avenue to actually you can't call where he is to get him. So that was a really good example of how you have to bring everything from the inside out. Okay, networking is not about the outside and then we introduce a little bit of the inside, because you have to get that person that you're talking to trust you enough to share that good information. The guy that sat by me and gave me all those nuggets, he has grandchildren. I don't have grandchildren, but I'm a third grade teacher. Okay. And guess what? People who have little kids, they always want to talk to me about something. If it's not
That's
the spelling
what
bee,
you connect on.
yes, there are people that are their spirit is waiting for you. And you have to know that they are in that crowd. Now to the finale to this. I'm talking to everybody because I've already given my spiel. I feel like I had already given my pitch to the people I needed to give it to. So networking is not completely about, let me give myself to everyone in the room. If that makes sense. Because if it's 100 people, you're not going to be able to do it anyway. But you have to be strategic about the ones that you choose.
Right. It's an art. Right. It's a strategy,
yes.
You say. Yeah.
So there are some people that, not to be rude, I rock right past them because I don't connect. I don't feel it. So maybe they're there to connect with someone else and not me.
And that's okay.
That's absolutely fine. So I'm on my way out. And the one that co-hosted, the lady that co-hosted with the guy that blew me off, well, both of them blew me off. I'm on my way out and she grabs me by my arm. She says, oh my God, come take a picture with me. And so I took a picture with her. And then she says, I am so glad that you did not leave because I want to help you with that conference. I was just like mind boggled, and I want to introduce you to the team. I want to introduce you to everyone. Wow. And I was like, really? She was like, yes. And I do have some other opportunities for you as well. And I was like, wow. But when I didn't know. So you have to prepare your seed. Like I had my elevator pitch ready because of course I was there to sell my conference. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of been my thing for networking. However, when I incorporate that into the business side of things, I'm able to pull people in through that little bit of connection that we have because they're going to want to know something about you.
And you need to be prepared, open up about yourself, and find a way to connect with people through that.
Yes. Once you get that connection, now we talk about, I have a trucking company and I have no idea what the heck I'm doing.
We all got to start somewhere.
And then that's when people start saying, hey, this, I know that. And it kind of comes together. Um, and that's the beautiful side about networking, because so many people are connected to so many other people. My sergeant in the military, when I first made sergeant, got my little stripes, the buck sergeant, he says to me, be mindful of what you do, who you are, and what you become. What you do, who you are, and what you become. Because now that you're standing on the right side of that formation, everything to the left is what you affect. Everything to the left.
Slowly.
All of the soldiers that stand to my left are who I am. So it was really important for me to understand who I had to be in order to work that large group of soldiers. And as I got up in rank, it grew. And just like those third graders, no matter what anyone says, yes, they will be somewhat like their parents, but they're going to be exactly like a lot of their teachers. So you're creating these little mini me. You're creating these little mini me's. But
When I was teaching in Korea, I was also under the impression that, everything starts at home. So whatever they become, mostly home is affecting them. I'm just teaching them English.
You'll be surprised how they absorb you.
Wow.
They absorb everything. They absorb everything about you. But that's how it is with people. You're going to affect all these different people as you move along, and you want to make sure that you're affecting them in a very genuine and positive way. People love happy people. I will say that. People love happy people. No one wants a grump.
Of course not. We just go to the other room and leave you groaning in your own.
Yes, people love that. And so sometimes you have to practice, I worked for this one general, and oh my goodness, he had the meanest face. Face just looked mean, but he was a nice person. And one day I had all the courage in the world. And I told him, I said, I know you're going to go and say your speech, because he was getting ready to give a speech. It would really help if you smiled in between some of those lines.
And so no one has ever suggested that to him before?
And he looks at me, and I'm thinking to myself, oh yes, I'm about to do push-ups. And he says, you know what? No one's ever told me that. I said, well, see, this is what you do. I said, go in the bathroom and pick out the one that you like. He says, pick out what? I said, the smile that you like. Because see, you're new at it, so you got to practice it. You got to practice using it. And he says, okay. He said, I'm gonna do that. I said, well, I'm gonna be watching you in the back, and I'll give you some cues. I'll give you a cue if I think you need to smile, like raise my finger, and then you just do a smile.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Before you suggested that, weren't you afraid that it could have gone the other way? It could have backfired, that it might have affected your job?
I always look at it from the perspective of, now you have to understand now, being an equal opportunity specialist in the military is no joke. I was getting fired mentally, physically, and for doing my job. Right. You do your job good enough, yeah, you're going to get kicked out of some units. So I'm a person of courage. I am definitely a person of courage. And I do believe that just because the ground is hard doesn't mean it can't accept a seed.
No, that is true.
So he would have possibly did something like that, and I would have brushed it off. It's his loss. Yes, he's a general, but you could be a better general. And I promise you, I know someone that's better than you. I gave you a seed, okay? I gave you a seed on your little dry ground, okay?
Something for you to think about, yeah.
So it could have went the other way, but I'm so used to it. I'm so used to it, because when they find out, oh, she's EO, they're like, yeah, get away from her. Don't talk to her. Everybody go running.
Because of your job, before you say anything.
Yes. And some of them used to think I was kind of undercover from the CID or something. No, I'm not. But like I said, the way you make a person feel that's what they're going to remember the very, very most.
Always.
Always. First impression is the last impression. Okay. And if you can get past that first impression, you get an opportunity for them to see what you look like in the second one. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. To
So they
make
have been,
the first impression the door to them seeing the rest of what you can offer.
yes, you get to, that will happen. You want to leave something there. Some people will take it, some people won't.
And that's okay. That means you have
Yeah.
connected with the right people for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. But everything starts inside of you. You have to bring yourself and your vision out. People love to hear about your vision, your purpose, your plan. They love to hear about that stuff wholeheartedly. I try not to focus on, am I going to get any money from anybody when I network?
Not the way to go about it.
Because people, when you get around people who are accustomed to someone asking them for money, they know right when you start talking to them that that's what you're trying to get.
Just like how we bump into celebrities asking for autographs.
Yes, it's customary, and they identify with you and whatever you're trying to do immediately. So can you imagine me trying to sell my teacher's conference and then, oh, another person that wants something? But what caught them is the passion. I'm doing this, I'm doing it out of my own funds, and this is what I need help with, because I match that up with something that's going on in the nation right now. And it's like the teachers are resigning.
Right.
So whenever you're networking, you need to make sure you bring your vision in there with it, because that will help. That's how people get to know who you are, who you really, really are in the inside. Yeah, they knew that, other people in the room were all real estate investors. They know that about, them. But do they
But what's
really
going to
know
make you stand out of all those business
Absolutely.
cards?
You have to take your vision in there with you. You got to take it in there with you. And share it, and be very bold about it. There's no dumb idea. I absolutely, and I hate to say this word, but I love lazy peoples, because that's how we got a microwave. That's how we I love them. That's how we get all these fine gadgets to make life more
Much
convenient.
easier and more convenient.
Okay.
That's right.
So, I adore them because they do offer something. And you know what? They don't try to suck all the air out of the room either.
Mm-hmm.
So your vision, meet it up with however you want to present yourself. If you're not accustomed to talking, you need to start practicing. You got to start practicing that communication skill.
That's the reason we have this podcast.
Oh, and you can be at all these networking events, but it will not affect your net worth if you're not really networking. And
And if
networking
you're
has
not
more.
talking, because some people have this idea that networking means you go to this conference, 100 business cards in your bag, and you just hand them out and say, "Hi, I'm Roberta. I'm a podcaster." Next, and you just do that instead of actually, like you said, have a conversation, sell them your vision, be prepared with your strategy. But if you're not willing to talk through that and tell them who you are, how are they going to remember you?
And that's the most important thing. It's not a fast-paced thing. Networking is not a fast-paced thing. It's just not that. So you, like I said, you're not going to have time to work the room. You just got to scan and choose the ones that you know you want to talk to, and be mindful of the things that you're looking for. I looked for, in that one, I looked for that individual that was just standing away from everybody. And that's who I approached. He probably was a little like, whoa, why does she come over here? I'm trying to stay away from everybody. But he was the one that was on my radar. But at the
Let me
same
ask you
time,
a question on that.
mhm,
Wouldn't the one that's being approached by everybody give you the impression that there's so much more that they are doing and people recognize that in them? And so that's the person you should be targeting as well, because I think a lot of people would be on that mindset of, oh, if everybody's, that's almost like the Hollywood celebrity of this networking event. So I don't want to
Yes.
be left behind on that train. So the one
I
that's
didn't
standing
even
in
know
the
it was him.
corner, does he have anything that he could potentially, you know what I
I
mean?
did not
Most
know.
people think like that.
I didn't know. I just knew he was over there by himself. And when we finished that little segment and I went and sat back down by my little buddy that I'd met, um, he told me that he's the guy that's over this whole thing. And I was like, really? He was like, yes.
Wow.
So yeah. So I did talk to the right person. I did.
Mhm.
And I was also invited to the next whatever the thing they do. And I'm not even a real estate investor. In fact,
But what
it's
I'm saying is
something
that
they
for
invited me to
you,
something in El Salvador.
mhm,
So I'm gonna try to go to that whatever they're doing in El Salvador. I'm gonna be right there with them.
you're gonna be there. But what I'm saying is a lot of people will think, let's just hug up on the same person because that means, oh, there must be a lot of value they bring to everybody else. Whereas the person standing alone, people have this idea or this impression that, oh, maybe not much is gonna come from him. Let's just ignore him like
Absolutely.
everybody else did. But you were wise enough to say, hey, that's the guy I actually want to talk to.
It's that connection. It might be like, oh my goodness, I like her dress. It could be any little thing that draws you to someone. I'm a social butterfly, so that it drew me to him because social butterflies like to affect everyone, even the ones that are all quiet and standoffish.
Right.
So they do. If those people want to be affected, of course, he was like a little rock, but it was okay. I still talk to him. Um, but you can't have that whole fear. And I will tell you this. Um, as I went to the networking event in LA this last week. Um, I chose to take taxi, and I had to take a shuttle from the airport to the taxi stand.
Mm.
And when I got on, it was fiercely crowded, right? And I was standing by this older man, short, little scruffy, but dressed. And but we were standing right next to each other, so why not have a conversation? And of course, he started the conversation off and asked me who I was. And I talked to him and everything. And wow, come to find out, I don't have his card in front of me right now, but he is a meat broker for the two national meat industry whatevers for the US. And it's not the best thing because they're going around and they're shutting down or buying up all of the smaller slaughterhouses. Okay, that's their focus, these two. So he's the broker between them two and all of these slaughterhouses throughout the United States. That's what he
Mhm.
does. And so he's talking to me, and I'm like, wow, how long have you been doing this? He said, he started out doing this one little thing here and there. And the third, he had his own farm. And then he graduated to doing, brokering between the slaughterhouse and restaurants and things like that. And he moved up to this one. And he says that tell me what is that you do. And so I gave him my elevator pitch because that's what I'm
Of
practicing on, right?
course. Yeah.
And so I gave him my
Yeah.
card, and then he began to ask me about the consulting group. Uh, so we started talking about the consulting group, and I said, I'm fairly new. I did not want it to be mainstream just yet, but because of the conference taking off, everybody wants to know what's going on with my consulting group.
Mm.
So I'm talking to him, and he was like, I could give you some really good insight on growing it. I was like, that would be amazing. He says, a lot of people would not think so, but if you look up what I do, it should convince you that I go, I get passed around a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars. That's what I do. He said,
Wow.
and I could really, give you some good pointers. Plus, I will come and speak at your conference as well. I was like, really? And he was like, yes. Um, and then he began to talk about how he has his own a grass-fed meat brand that he has in the stores.
Nice.
And he wants to get it into the schools for nutritional purposes, those that still, serve meat. And because I am a third grade school teacher, and I stood before the school board and gave my pitch last week. So I am not afraid. I will do everything I can to help him fulfill his vision, even though I'm a tiny person. I don't have as much reach, but of course, he doesn't have the reach that I have. He's not an educator.
So you are in a space that you can help him reach. He's in a space he can help you reach.
Definitely. So the parallel is off by miles, but we meet on what we need, that thing that we connect with. Now, I could have been on that shuttle and it was so crowded and so many people bunched up on each other and never said a word to him. However, don't be fooled, because just because they're on the shuttle, just because they're on the train, those things mean nothing at all. Nothing. And plus, it's LA. Everybody commutes, no matter how many digits they make. They commute some type of way through public transportation in order to beat traffic or not be, concerned with the traffic. But he was very enthusiastic about giving me whatever information I needed to help grow my consulting group. On top of that, I got all these fine individuals that own their own companies that are coming in on the speaking panels, that are coming to speak.
Yes, me being one of them.
Yes. And when I left LA with, you're gonna love it, I left LA with 2 more speakers for the business panel.
The conference?
Yes. And I left with a photographer that's going to come and do the photo shooting for free.
What? Free?
Yes. When you put your vision, you can't be doing something that's outside of that. Even though mine sort of seems like it might be, there's some vision tied in both of them. There's some vision tied in that trucking company, because that is solely for those people that are coming out of prison. That's what that's for. And then there's something in there for consulting. Just the word consulting alone gives people the idea that I am a master networker. Okay.
Right.
That's the word consulting alone. And then being a third grade teacher, pulling it together, I had to show the community that I was serious. So I pushed it through my consulting group, the conference. So there are certain strategies that you also have to do. In addition to that, you have to take some time and get some peace so that you can sort out all these ideas in your head. A lot of people talking to you. If you don't sit down and put all these ideas together, it's just a lot of words that never ever come together, and they're never utilized. When I came back, I went through and I sent emails to all of those business cards. Send an email. Thank you so much. Put my consulting group, gave myself a great new logo and everything, because I'm still kind of new. But on top of that, you're going to love this. Talking to the Asilla Golf lady, first Black African-American female that has a golf apparel company.
Wow.
So I'm talking to her, and she's just talking about her whole layout. I'm not into merchandising because I'm doing consulting. And plus, I try to do some trucking or whatever that is. But I don't know much about that. So she's talking, we're doing this thing, and we come to a consensus where we're going to redevelop, or should I say, revamp one of the projects she has going on so I can use it in August for me.
Okay.
When we got off the phone, I sat quietly and I thought, after we got the phone. And I said, oh my goodness, I could have apparel that's only for consultants.
Touche.
Whoa. So I'm like, what kind of apparel could I use to draw them in? Humor. So I sat down yesterday. I spent my entire day yesterday making slogans to go on t-shirts. And I opened up that side of my merchandising on my consulting site. Whoa. It's called the Hilarious Consultant Collection.
The Hilarious Consultant Collection.
Yes. And I came up with some really funny ones. One that I can remember, it says, consultant. We tell you what to do, you do it.
It's that simple.
So there are some, I think it's about 13 or 14 slogans that I made that are already there. Then I put together a collection with my logo on it. That is the IIDE&I signature collection. So that's one tab. So all of those things are there. So you can't make any purchases right now, but you could definitely look at all of the merchandise.
I've seen some on your website. Yeah.
Yes. So the store it's almost ready. I'm just waiting on the bank to finish what they're doing with the account because they take forever to get everything done. And then I'll be able to push that merchandise. But I'm speaking to a whole. There are so many different types of consultants out there. Okay.
That's true.
So,
I used to be one as well. Yeah.
It's like, when you look at the list, they have like, what is that? The TAIS. It's like a code that you have whenever you get ready to get your business. I had to do it for my my business account at the bank, and you have to select what your service is. And when you go to the page and you do the drop down, you put in consultant. It comes up with like 50 different types of consultants. 50 or more different types of educational consultant, forestry and rainforest consultant. I'm like, what is that?
Every industry has its own consultants, basically.
It seems as though. So can you imagine that what would happen with this hilarious consultant collection?
When there are 50 different categories of them.
I can send these samples to any consultant out there and get major feedback. Now, I think I mentioned earlier that I've been to like over 26 different countries. So
when you were talking about your military career.
So I think I'm going to make a tab where we have some in there that are in different languages. Let's go ahead and go big or go home. Okay.
Of course. Yes, always.
The only way I'm going home is they're going to have to kick me all the way there.
Drag
you. A lot of the times, you got to take the time to process all the information that you get when you network. So, and that's why when you go and do these networking events and you have like a focus, you're trying to get help, information, or whatever, support. You don't want to talk to too many people because that is what you got to keep all this information in your head.
Quality over quantity. It's not about targeting 100 business cards.
There you go. And you can collect all the ones you want as you move around, but you only want to give your personal and attention and personal time to certain ones, specific ones, and I just feel like I'm a person of manifestation. I manifest. I mean, sometimes I have no idea. I'm just manifesting things to come to me. And I was in that conference in LA. The place is huge because it was in the Los Angeles Convention Center. And I said to myself, oh my God, this place is so dry. None of these booths have music. Nobody has music, okay? Now, I'm thinking to myself, this is a marketing conference, and of course, I'm a consultant. So why am I in a truck company owner? Why am I at this? Because they told me I could come.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't look at these networking events as if I don't belong there. I don't look at it
You
like that.
cannot come with that energy. No, you cannot. You cannot start off like that. No
I'm
way.
focused on my reason for being there. So as I'm floating around, I think I manifest something, because as I'm floating around, I end up in the far, far right of the building. And guess what I hear? A jazz band. One of the booths had a jazz band in there
And you were
playing.
looking for music.
And I was looking for music.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I think I am so confident in what I ask for or what I need at a moment. Like if I forget my breakfast at home, I always say, you know what? Somebody got to have some breakfast for me when I get to work. And somewhere a donut shows up or a muffin out of nowhere.
You don't entertain doubt. It's gonna manifest either way.
No, I do not. I do not. I do not. I do everything I can not to. The biggest takeaway that I could give anyone when it comes to business is it has to be linked to some passion, some part of the vision, or it's not going to really succeed the way you want it to. If you're in it for the money, some people, they get what they want, but there are others who can definitely get more when they tie their vision to it.
And
Okay.
it's much more sustainable and long term if it has a
Yes,
vision, of course.
and
The
you
vision is a
enjoy
long term.
you enjoy doing what you do. That adds that layer of job satisfaction. Try to see whether or not you can fit your vision into the big picture. Helping more than just the people around you, but helping all of those that are outside of you to the ends of the earth as far as it stretches. Who all can I help? Because if your vision is only for you and 5 people, your networking is probably not
That's
going
very
to
short
be.
term. Yeah.
But if you see yourself, your vision, and you place it in the bigger picture, the world is going to open up to you, and you will find yourself talking to a meat broker.
Just like Zmia did at the LA conference.
You understand what I'm saying? You'll find yourself talking to the people that you need to talk to that you would never talk to if it was just you and your 5 people.
So have a bigger vision. Come prepared, quality over quantity, and be able to know how to sell your vision, and don't be in a hurry to network with everybody, but be able to read the room, pick the right people for you.
Yes. All those things. Great highlights. I'm glad you recorded them in your brain because they're already out of mine. But
yeah,
all I can say is if I had to put the most of is that vision and tying it into something you do for the world. I remember when I got into my doctorate program, and I was so very serious, because in my mind, I've got to get this done because I have these people I'm supposed to help, and I got to get this done. This is not about me. It's not about the title. It's about what I need so that I can do what I got to do for them in this community of educators that look down on you if you don't have the highest education. So that's I'm after it so that I can get what I need to get for them. But at the same time, I think to myself, I say, so if my vision is something that goes beyond everybody, beyond myself, and it's out there for everybody to partake in, there are some things I need to change about myself as far as going into business. Be mindful of how you think of finances. You have to get to a place where you are comfortable with where you are. Not the next house, not the next car, not the next comfortability for where you are, because as you make money, you have to invest it back into
the business and its growth.
Got to. Yes. And the people that work for you. Those extra dollars can become incentives for the people that work for you. That can make your onboarding process more robust, your training more robust. Money makes things so much better within a business. And whenever you have a larger vision,
Long term is key. Yeah, long term is always key.
You can't look at it like, oh, this is to build me up and give me this. I have this persona of being the most richest person and those things like that. I do believe you're working towards your vision. Money will fall
It
to
will
your
come
feet.
automatically. Yeah, you
It's
will
gonna
attract
come.
the right people
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah. So I think that's important when you change that. Once you put your vision in there, then you get to a place where you're satisfied with where you are in your life, so that you're not drawn to just the money aspect of it, because we got to get the vision fulfilled first.
Vision should be
We
much.
got to get that first.
Yeah, it should be
And
the
that's
driver.
important. And I remember getting into my doctorate program, and the study was like rigorous, and I was just like, okay, and I'm nervous. It's so new to me, trying to do this. And I just really didn't have a whole lot of room for negative people. So, and that includes, family members, because they're people too. And sometimes they can be negative, and those things can suck out all your vision and every idea
So
that would
be
come into your
careful who
mind.
you surround yourself with, or
Very
even
much.
sharing who you share your vision with. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, family is not going to go anywhere,
Yeah.
but who you
And
share
I
your vision
remember,
with.
I remember saying to my husband, I said, "Honey, something's changing about me, and I don't know if I'm being shallow because I'm just not dealing with the same people anymore. I just don't feel it. We just don't connect, and I'm just not." And he said something to me I will never forget. He said, "Honey, you're trying to become a doctor, and doctors are not truly concerned about matters and people. They're trying to solve problems for the world." I was blown away.
Powerful.
I was blown away. And he's absolutely right. If
Yeah.
someone's out there getting a doctorate, you can't just be getting it to be getting it. I know that this thing is going to help my vision and a wealth of people when I get it in place. It's for,
So many are
it's for,
going to benefit from it. Yeah.
yes, it's not going to be a benefit for me. I could take right now as a doctorate student, I can fill out an application at a lot of corporate places where I fit some of those positions, and I can make, six figures without a problem on another job. But I'm happy. I'm satisfied where I am. I don't need the next big house. I don't need the next brand new car. I need funds coming in so that I can build my businesses, so that I can be of assistance too. And you wonder, what about the consulting group? I learned that in my field, in the IOP field, there are so many students that are looking for internships. So right
you're
now
going to have to teach them the networking aspect as well.
I have 4 actual, but they're non-paid 6-month internship positions. Because I promised that when I started my consulting group, I promised that I would reach back and help those undergrads get the experience that they need through a consulting group. And get this, I don't even really want to do any consulting, honestly. I really don't. I would prefer to make those positions and allow through internships for them to develop themselves and become great consultants through my company, and move on, and I help them stand up theirs as well. So when I tell you about vision being beyond just you, what you're listening to is vision thinking. This is vision thinking that you're listening to.
It must have a ripple effect. It can't just be about vision.
Okay. When it hits the water, it needs to turn into more than just a ripple. It needs to turn into a wave and become a tsunami that can't be stopped. Only people can watch and fear that it's coming.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. So vision is everything. Vision will put you with the people that you need to be with whenever you hit the room to network. Don't be afraid to go to anything. You can go to the arts and crafts network. And I know you're not into the arts.
Let's not get into that because we're about to wrap up.
But guess what? There's probably so somebody in there that has an inkling of information that could take you to the next level. You know, if
Exactly.
they don't have it, they know someone else that possibly has it. But you got to get out there. So now I'm actually dipping my feet into this whole networking, and I'm addicted to it. I absolutely love it. So now I'm trying to go to everything. I'm like, I don't even supposed to be there.
You have gained so much experience from it, and it just keeps, you can see the fruits of it, and it just keeps growing. So, and you're learning the skill, which you can transfer to people now. And that's why we are having this episode today. So thank you so much for being here. You have shared such a gold, all the nuggets, a wealth of information that's going to benefit us all.
And to you guys out there, if you want to check out the website, it's IIDEI.org. IIDEI.org. Flip through those pages, and maybe you can pull some information from it to help you start your consulting group.
And is there any other social media handle or website where they can find you, or just IIDEI one?
There. They can find me at IIDE&I.org, or they can find me at Appendage Logistics. They type that in, they can find it. And if they put Las Vegas, Nevada behind it, they'll find it. Appendage, just like surgery or medical. Don't ask me how that name came about. It was a strategy, okay? Businesses that start with A always pop up first.
There you go. First letter of the alphabet.
They can find me there. They can find me on, if you put it in the comments, my name sometimes is hard to spell, Zmia Bertaud. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. I try to do Twitter, and I try to do TikTok, but I haven't got there yet.
I think what you've mentioned is more than sufficient. Thank you so much for being here. This has been wonderful.
Thank you for having me, Roberta. And I hope I reached or met the goal that you were looking for today.
Even more than my expectations, you've exceeded them. And more than anything, like I said, even I was able to take some of what you've shared. And the next time that I'm at a networking event, I know exactly what to do, what to look out for, how to navigate the room, and how to, most of all, sell my vision.
Yes. Thank you, Roberta.
Thank you for being here.